Adding an annex is a great way to increase the capacity of any rooftop tent. If you want to add some extra space for lounging and cooking outside of the weather, or maybe even extra sleeping quarters for your kids to sleep, or a buddy that you brought along on the trip, an annex can be a good solution. But like almost every other piece of camping and overlanding gear, how, when, and even if you use an annex will depend a lot on your personal style. How's it going, guys? Casey here with the Coyote Works channel. Well, I get a lot of questions about using an annex on a rooftop tent, and I've had several annexes. In fact, I've had them for almost all my tents, but I only actually use them on very rare occasions. So I thought I'd talk to you guys a little bit about kind of why I use them, when I use them. So for me, the deal with annexes is that oftentimes they're pretty complicated to set up. They're time consuming to set up, and not exorbitantly so, but my whole thing is trying to keep my setup and tear down as quick as possible. Now I'm running the 55 High Country Series tent, and the annex for that tent's actually fairly lightweight and compact, and it's not that difficult to set up. But for me, the deal with the annex is that for the most part, when I roll into camp, I'm going to do my cooking or hanging out next to the fire, and then I'm going to go to bed. And when I go to bed, I'm going to go up in the rooftop tent. So for me, I'm not spending a lot of time hanging out indoors. And generally speaking, between my awning that gives me a little bit of cover and the overhang for the rooftop tent, I've got enough cover to do what I need to do out of the weather, or at least out of the rain or the snow. So the one situation where I think for me an annex comes in really handy is in really bad weather when I'm going to be in camp for a while. It's really nice to have that extra area set up that gives you the ability to be able to change your clothes, even do some cooking, hang out, read on your iPad or whatever out of the weather. Now, another situation where an annex could come in really handy is if you need more sleeping room in your tent. Now, this isn't an issue for me, but I know a lot of people that go camping as families set up an annex, and then like the parents will sleep up in the rooftop tent and they'll put the kids down in the annex, or vice versa. So there are actually some really practical applications for the annex, but you don't see me using it a lot. For me, my priorities are always quick setup and tear down for my camp, and then minimizing the amount of gear that I'm taking and messing around with, right? Like the more time I mess around with gear, the less time I have to actually enjoy the experience. So those are some of my thoughts on using an annex in conjunction with a rooftop tent. As always, hit me up with any comments, questions, or suggestions below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Coyote Works, out.